It should simplify conversations where it can. It should deliver information in a conversational way that customer is comfortable with and allows them to ask even one more question. But then it should also connect you to a human being when you need to be connected to a human being.
Hi, welcome. Today on Radically Personal, I'm so excited to have Kate Showalter of Crate & Barrel joining us to talk about customer experience and the impact of AI and how to lead in this ever-changing world. I love talking to you because you have this incredible spirit of innovation about you that is unique, I think, in this customer experience world, right? Because people never want to make mistakes and they want to make sure everything's perfect. And you don't want to make mistakes either, but you also have always just shown this ability to try new things and do things differently and question the status quo. And my first way, maybe just to start to introduce, walk a little bit through your journey of your career of how did you get that mindset?
Yeah. I don't know where or when it came from. I feel like it's always been a little there. I've been at Crate & Barrel for a very long time. The joke is I only say 20 plus years, but in secret, it's been over 30. Shh, don't tell anybody.
You started when you were 12.
I started when I was 12, but I've had several careers within that career. Started in retail and in the stores and worked up through international franchise and strategic program management, kind of for the enterprise, and then ultimately back into care and CX. And there's no thread to that journey. Like if you listen to that, none of those jobs make sense in any order. But I think it's a spirit of what's next. You look forward, not backward, and you think, what can we do better? And okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? So even when you do fail, which we do a lot, you don't think, oh no, I failed. You think, okay, what's next? You don't just take a customer and then you're done for the day. You take the next customer and it's a whole different story. And you take the next customer and that's a whole different story. So you're just constantly seeing what's up, and the customer need and the customer expectations have evolved. So we evolve.
Yeah. Which brings us to today, which is the world of AI.
Yeah.
And, we've been working together, I think it's now 6 years. I think it was right before the pandemic we started working together.
It's so crazy.
And it's been this incredible journey. Share a little bit about, you were very early to say, hey, this is going to be what's next. What was your thinking? How do you think about AI? How do you think about AI in the broader picture of CX, the broader picture of retail?
Yeah. It is so interesting because it's not to say that I don't have the moments, or we all don't have the moments where it's a little scary. When you first hear about AI, I thought several things like, I don't want to put humans out of business. I've spent a lifetime of a career making human connections and making personalized service and thinking, how do we make it even more human? Which has led me to the decision for Gladly because it feels super human to me. So the idea that you are now saying, okay, now don't be human, the opposite of everything I felt like I had built to that time. And then you start to think, but what if it helps the human? What if it could be a good human connection for the customer as the human? So if you think of the customer's experience, to have something easy and quick and helpful saves energy and time and makes a great experience. And if we can make it feel good for the customer, isn't that still what it's all about? So we have started on this AI journey, thankfully together, just really thinking about how it could feel good. Like, how does it feel good? Not just for the associate, but also really most importantly for the customer.
Yeah.
I think it's super important to help the agent and use AI to make their experience better, but I wanted to dive in and get it to a customer. Like let's go.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
The way you describe it is how we like to try to talk about how we approach AI, which is this idea of how do you make it radically personal and radically efficient?
Yes.
Right. If you can marry those two things together, it's a win-win for everybody. I mean, it's a win for obviously, again, the customer, which is they still feel like Crate has their best interest at heart.
Yes.
and they're getting their answer immediately,
Yes.
and getting helped immediately. They can do that. So that's really what we're trying to do. And I do think that, when we first started working together, I mean, I remember that like early conversations, it was just about like, how do you make customer experience more customer centered? I mean,
Yes.
people kind of lost their way. And I do think that there's a risk with AI, like anything, how you implement it, how you use it is as important, if not more important than the underlying technology itself. Right?
100%. And you can learn so much from it as you go. That's what I struggle with when people say they're not ready to start. Like, just dip your toe in because it's going to teach you something. Like, so we might not have known what was hard for our customers until we started seeing it be hard for that AI moment, right? Like, an AI will tell you where that customer is struggling and feed back to you what you should be focusing on and what you should be trying to do. Like, I love that radically personal saying logo. What do you call it? What are you? I love that for you. Because it doesn't disconnect from technology. It applies to technology. And you have to think of it in that term, because that's what we're here to do, right? It's customer experience. It's right in the name of all of our jobs.
Now, one of the things that you also uniquely have done has been really transforming the traditional idea of a contact center into a revenue center. So, and I want to tie it back to AI as well, but like, how do you think about those two things, and how do those two things, do they coexist? Are they competing? Is there tension? Like, do they help one another? Like, how do you think about that?
I think there's two frames I use for revenue center, and the concept started for me by thinking I want to do more, right? I want to do more than just be the problem-solving dumping ground of my organization, right? I like to fix things, but there's a way to fix them that you don't have them happen to you again. So that's kind of one frame of revenue. And the other frame of revenue is, this is retail. We sell things. And it's why I have stayed at Crate for so long, because not only do we sell things I love, that I want people to have. Like, I want your home to be beautiful. I love to entertain. I am a hostess. Like, it brings me tremendous joy, and I want to share that with all of people. So I want to sell you some of the stuff, not just because we're a business, but because I really think
Passionate about it.
I really think that an optic cocktail glass is stunning, and you'll like your drink better. So I want that to be in the home. So if what we do could be more than solving problems, if we can actually think about how we're talking about product or leveraging a selling function in our chat. Our top revenue producer is our chat function, because you're there and engaged on our site. You're shopping. Right. So we need to help you shop. Like, we have to think of it in that way. The flip side of that is we also have to cost less, which is, hard for all of us.
We're all in that world.
That's the world we live in. But most of what costs money for me is not caused by me, right? Most of what
caused by you,
right?
You're the cost.
I am the cost. I am the cost center, but I am not the root cause. So
I actually never heard that. I actually really like that.
Sometimes, we could churn and not be the best, and then we're the cause. But the initial contact, the initial conversation, the initial reach out is because
the martini glasses showed up
broken. Like, you need something did not go as expected.
Right.
Or you have more questions that we did not surface the right information for. So the more I can help the rest of the organization reduce those, the more profitable I become. So by sending those costs back to the cause, and making sure everybody's super aware of it, that's been a huge revenue lever, if you will.
By reducing.
Yeah. I'm only just like grow sales, hopefully I can go beyond even my own expectations, but at some point I also have to pull down in order to truly make profitability.
And then how do you think about AI's role in that trade-off, right? Because, you have teams, like you have a very large team, and you have people that have unique sets of skills. You've got, you've got designers that will be on the phone with you and help you design your new living room for the house you went into, for example. And I remember once you telling me the story of someone in your team had like raised this to their manager, like, hey, I was actually on a call with someone for 37 minutes or
Yeah.
something.
Am I gonna get in trouble? Yeah. Am I gonna get in trouble? I talked to them for 37 minutes.
What you talked
We're
about?
like, yeah, what'd you talk to them about? I'm like, well, we sold some glasses and then we talked about sofas. I'm like, yeah, you're not in trouble. Yeah, we had a customer bought a whole section, like an associate helped to buy a whole sectional, like basically a whole living room. She didn't even think anything of it. She's like, okay, next. Like it's just I'm like, oh my, I'm listening to this contact and like you just sold a whole sectional, like yeah, 12 whole minutes. It's great.
It's awesome. So when you think about that, like, and that's a very
Yeah.
powerful role that that person plays. But you also have people are asking about, hey, I had it happen to me, as you know, like I ordered some martini glasses.
No.
But you took care of it. You're right. Like, how do you think about AI's role in that?
So I think um, it can help, it should help with the most simple opportunities that it can to make them even simpler, more simple, pardon my English for the customer. The idea that you've had broken glasses, which I'm so sorry about, it is unfortunate the nature of glass, but the still a challenge. It should be simple for you. Like you shouldn't have to talk for 15 minutes or wait on hold, or like, you should be able to chat in and say, I have two glasses broke. I need them replaced, and the AI should be able to easily replace those,
Which it did.
for you. Thanks to Gladbert. So the it should simplify conversations where it can. It should deliver information in a conversational way that customer is comfortable with and allows them to ask even one more question. But then it should also connect you to a human being when you need to be connected to a human being.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about the human being side of this.
Yeah.
How have you organized your team around this? And I know you've done some really unique things that that have been great. So how do you organize in an AI world to take advantage of AI? How do you staff all the team side of things? Then how do you also communicate as a second topic with the broader team about what you're doing there? But maybe start with like, how are you managing it? How do you, because it's like you just turn it on and like,
oh yeah, magical little elves ran around and fixed all the things. I ran a strategic PMO for a long time, so I've done a lot of the implementation. PMO, it's a program management office. So think of it as like all of the enterprise projects you do in an organization. So I've implemented a large number of initiatives. You always hope they're going to be super easy, but the way you often fail in those implementations is to kind of set it and forget it, or think you built one stagnant set of business requirements, and that set of business requirements is just going to alleviate any problems that you have down the road. And we quickly learned it was not pre-knowledge, although despite, sometimes I listen to your feedback, Joseph, and sometimes I fail. But it was
I listen to your feedback a lot.
I mostly do. I really like voicemail now. Joseph said so. He was so right all along. But the idea that we thought at first it was a little magical, and I think, there's leaders across, like you read all about AI and the CEOs that just want it now and what it'll instantly alleviate, and you hope it's going to do that, but it doesn't do that. It needs help. It needs to learn. It needs to be developed the same way you develop an associate. So I think of AI much more as part of my headcount than separate from or a tool, right, of. So if you think of AI as headcount that you need to develop and grow, then just like I have a QA team and a training team for my actual headcount, I have a QA team and a training team for my AI. And by having, in my world, 2 or 3 people who literally own that, you think that's 2 or 3 people that are resolving a huge percentage of our conversations, right? So it's maybe an investment in some teams, but where I have this small head count that's creating guides, that's looking at language, we literally read and call back every 1-star review our AI gets. The AI tools within Gladly give us information that help us say, what's the next thing we should build? Or how are we not listening appropriately to these things? Or how are we not answering these well? Or what answers are we missing? So we've built, we started with like 24 answers in our knowledge base, which was like so naive to be like, oh my gosh, we need, hundreds, not dozens, and it's a big difference. So we're to the point now, every time a new season comes up, we rewrite a whole new edition of our promotions so that, CB can know every promotion we're having. And
CB is the name.
CB is the name of my AI agent. So CB can know all of the upcoming promotions so that it can know.
She can know.
There you go. Anything that an associate would know. So it's not a kind of, here, read this PDF of training, we're done now. It is a constant learning, and you're constantly feeding it.
I think that, in terms of, the journey that you are on, that moment where you started that team,
yes,
it was such a lot,
yeah.
right? And that mindset to say, you have managers that manage dozens of people, and we've got dozens of managers managing dozens of people. This mindset to say, hey, you're going to have a team, and their job is to think about managing this the same way you would a team.
Yes.
And enabling it and training it and coaching it.
We call them the innovations team. They primarily do AI, but they also take what they learn and pass it back to the larger teams. So anything we build for AI would help an associate.
Right.
So we just make sure this innovations team doesn't just build it for AI. If you're going to be able to do a replacement with a push of a button as CB, then my associate should be able to do a replacement as a push of a button. We have to think about it across.
So speaking of replacements,
yes,
the journey obviously started with content. So all you have questions and answers, can I buy online and return in the store, that sort of stuff. Working a lot with an IT and technology team is not the norm historically for CX leaders. It's like maybe they come in, they help influence gladly initially and make some stuff, but then they're like, you're kind of on your own.
Yeah.
Now, like there's a shared partnership there, a shared roadmap. What lessons could you share with CX people of like how to talk to your IT and CTO?
How to get stuff out of technology.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's super common for all of us, especially in a CX role, I think, to kind of have that conversation about where we fight for resources, or we're kind of vying for the who gets what when, and to get into that backlog or into that roadmap or whatever your company calls it. What's really nice about a partnership like the one I have with Jason is that it starts really from a very visionary, very strategic place. And I think it's really important to get people excited about the possibilities of what you could do or what you want to do together. At the CTO level, we talk a lot about like what's possible. And it's less potentially about proving an ROI at that moment as much as getting somebody excited and bought into what's new and how it could even be leveraged across larger parts of the organization, or the thought process is leveraged across larger parts of the organization. Getting resources can be
it's always that.
It's always in check.
Going back to everyone trying to do more with less.
And you do, exactly. And you do need to prove a degree of ROI. For me, it was a matter of saying, okay, if we can resolve this many contacts, or yes, you're absolutely saying if my handle time is here, I'll use less labor. Like there is definitely measures of ROI. For me, the more motivational side of it was truly customer experience, showing examples of what other companies are doing, or digging in on with Gladly as a strategic partner on what could be possible in your own kind of business schema is super exciting.
Yeah.
So if you think about not just what could I do in the confines of the limitations that I believe, or constraints that I believe are on me due to this limited resources, if you think more like, okay, here's what I want to do, and here's the vision of my end result, how do I go sell that across anyone who will listen? And I'm super fortunate because I have a very customer-centric, retail-minded CEO in Jan Hayes and COO in Mike Brewer, and they're very customer experience minded, and they want me and my organization to bring that to the rest of the organization. And if you bring kind of like, oh, here's our problems, you don't listen as much to, oh, here's what we could do.
Yeah.
So I think you have to get curious and invest with a strategic partner who's going to help what you don't know, or show you what's possible in a way that maybe you hadn't thought of. That's the conversations that you go make an appointment with your CTO, start high, then go look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely one of the things that is it's always a good reminder of to engage on here's what we can be doing. And what I love about our conversations and, the conversations we just had with that group of people who were just talking about, I mean, it was amazing how in that conversation with Jason and with Mike and with Amy, we were talking just about customer experience for most of it. Like no one used the word deflection once in the meeting.
And they're really not interested.
Right. They're like, how do we get, this is about delivering a better customer experience.
And we haven't talked about deflection. I don't even use the word. I don't have a metric for it. I don't touch it. I talk about CSAT for AI. I talk about how we've resolved customer issues with AI. I don't talk about deflection. Yeah. We don't bring it up. We reduce customer effort. Absolutely. All day long. I get first contact resolution. Sure. That's a customer experience. And we've had huge wins every single Monday. We share a 5-star review and a 1-star review for CD every Monday in our executive reporting. Some of them are really fun. You left a review once. We made sure to share that one. And the experience was really good. And then we share the actual conversation that CD had.
Yeah.
And we did that today in the meeting. And they will listen and dig in and ask questions and want to know, well, then what the customer say and how are we answering and what are we showing? It's very customer centric.
So great. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about working with your CEO.
Yeah.
That's the other, a very important role at the company, obviously. Having spent many years as a CEO, they can be very demanding. Mm-hmm. Sometimes maybe...
you CEOs.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes impatient was the word, the nice way to say it, I think.
Urgent. Yes.
Yeah. How have you engaged with Janet, the rest of the senior leadership team?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about the thing on Monday. I love that. Every week, sharing a good example and something we're learning from.
Right.
That's such a great way to make it very concrete, sort of make people connected to it. What other advice do you have for people there?
I think it goes back to, again, I'm super lucky. I work for Janet as a true retailer. I started at Crate under the founder, Gord Siegel, who I've always thought of as just the epitome of an entrepreneurial, he used to make us read all the Stanley Marcus books and know all that we could about great retail. And I feel like Janet takes that to a modern, amazing level in such a great way. And because we are here for the customer and we are here to sell things, beautiful quality things that are great for people's homes, you really have to bring it in that way and show her not just what you're making better, but she loves to hear what's broken. She wants to hear what's not working and how are you going to go make it work and what's the action for that. If you channel that urgency and that need for speed into your own what's next mentality, it can be an enabler and a new way of thinking, right? Yeah. So it can be hard because, you have to hit deadlines, but you have to take that urgency and see where you'll make the biggest difference and drive there first. So I think it's a lot of prioritization and it's a lot of communication. We hold weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the group, meetings with all different functional teams. So we have a quality meeting, we have a fulfillment meeting, and we have a shopability meeting that are our kind of NPS drivers. So we go and for quality, we talk to all of the product managers. We talk to all of the merchandising teams. We meet in the DC and we look at product and we look at what the customer's feedback has been. For the fulfillment, we talk to the home delivery teams. We go out and, share all the parcel and we share actual interactions and customer experiences. And then that all makes an action plan. And then Janet likes an action plan. So it's a good cyclical way to work. So it's a you would think sometimes it's a driver, but I actually think of it more as an enabler. Yeah. It's an opportunity.
That what next mindset is very powerful to frame things out.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what's next?
Okay,
it's where we're going.
Yeah.
So no, you're not spending time looking in the rearview mirror. There's a reason that people say they made the windshield bigger than the mirror. should be looking more.
And it's hard because I will confess right now to all of you
Oh, yeah.
that I'm a chronic overthinker, right? Like, so, oh my God, it's
Never would have said that.
horrifyingly bad, chronic overthinker. And the way to combat that, I have learned over many hard fought hours, is to say what's next, not to say, why did I do that? Right. Or why did we do that? Or, oh, that failure stung. Or, right. Like it comes from, I think overthinking comes from chronic overachieving. Like, oh, I have to be perfect. I have to I watch that in my own daughters, right? Like you have to, yeah. Like, so that what's next is a great way to get over failure.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to recognize there's a little piece of that in all of us. And, some of us have more than others, but in order to combat that, you gotta step forward and take that monthly operating review where they're like, well, why isn't this happening? To be like, what should be happening? I mean, like, what could we do?
I never would have thought of you as
No, thanks.
It's like, well, we talk about things.
You gotta work hard.
Let's do it. I'm like, great, let's go.
Yeah, you gotta work hard. You gotta self-awareness.
Yeah.
You gotta work hard at it.
This is after this revelation or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I'm stuck there. I'm like, wait a second. Well, you're the last person I would have ever thought to be over. You are always the one saying like, well, let's try it. I mean, I remember this was like 2 years ago, like, well, let's try a bunch of stuff.
Well, overthinking does not equate the fact, like, I still think anything's possible.
Yeah.
Right? There's that moment, it's like, oh. Think of it as the struggle with AI, right? Like, we're all like, ooh, AI is scary, bad. Like, it's just that, think of overthinking as that moment where you're like, ooh, scary, bad. And you're like, okay, well, wait.
Maybe some good.
There's got to be a flip side. There's got to be a flip side.
Yeah.
Right?
Love it. I think one of the things you really, like people talk about voice of customer, et cetera, and there's like all these reports that get, created and NPS surveys, which are valuable. There's nothing like people seeing it, right? Like the thing that you do with the 5-star and 1-star AI content that you share and with exactly your shoot team. You also do this interesting thing where you bring part of your team here and then invite the rest of the company to see what it's like.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It's, we were finding that we were feeling very invisible when we all went remote and that there was a lowered awareness that customer care, was a contributing part of the organization. And it's not so much that we weren't valued, like make no mistake, we're very valued. It was more people didn't feel compelled to fix things because they didn't realize what impacts they could potentially be having on those things.
They didn't feel it.
And that's really what, to me, CX is all about, is how we make the organization feel what the customer is feeling in ways that makes them want to take action to make that experience better. If I'm going to say to supply chain, or if I'm going to say to the merchandising team, this ETA delay costs my team $45,000 last week or whatever, made up number, it would be a real number. That was a made up number.
It's okay. PR team, we're good.
Yeah.
We didn't share it.
I know. Set a number. But if I'm going to say to the merchants that,
it costs
$45,000, whatever, because of this issue, it was kind of felt like it was coming from this invisible place. Right. So we just want to make sure we're understanding that everything happens, we have to unhave it once a quarter at least. But like during customer service week, National Customer Service Week, we held it, here, like anything we can do to give visibility to it. We bring a group of associates in and they sit with Gladly and our internal systems and they help customers live.
Here in the office.
And the corporate office team can sign up for time slots and come and sit with them.
So they shadow and they just watch.
And they watch, and the associates answer questions, and they have a million questions about what they're seeing on the screen, and we talk it all through, and we sell out every time. Every time we open, we try to open double the time slots, and we still sell out of the time slots. So we've now built it so that it's roving, so we can take it to DCs, we can take it to distribution centers, to warehouses, to anywhere anybody wants to see what our customers are saying. We can take another.
I love that actually. I actually love that bringing it into the distribution centers and.
Yeah, it was making me sad because you can go on warehouse tours and you can go on store tours, but you can't go on a customer service tour.
No.
So we brought it to them.
Yeah. I love that. That's a great idea. The next question is like, now in this world of AI, what was the decision of like, hey, do we find a third party? Do we go build it ourselves? Like, great to sort of share your thinking about those decisions.
My answer is fundamentally rooted as the same answer for both. I, and Jason would echo this, don't look for vendors. We look for partners, true strategic partners. Somebody who's going to invest in how we want to do business and the business we want to do and help us think differently and get there in a new way. And we're amazing, like I said, at making beautiful products for your home and getting it into your home and designing your home. We can't be also an expert in all the things, right? So you have to take those strategic partners who help you get where you want to go with their own expertise and bring that value. So we look for that kind of across all partners of the organization. And the story of when I first saw Gladly, I was brand new to this, like
to CX.
To customer service. I had literally never set foot in a call center at all. I was like, do you wear headphones? Like, what do you do? I don't know. I had run stores for years and years and years. And I know those metrics. I know sales per hour. I know traffic and conversion and retail. I knew all that. And I love that. Like, I love it. Like shopkeeper to my core. So when you get into a contact center, you're like, what do I want to do? So I just watched for probably about 4 weeks. I asked for the reporting. I tried to follow along with it like a little math. Our reporting was abysmal, by the way. Before everything. So I was watching and the same thing kept happening over and over again. We had these silos like, oh, this is my email team. Okay, come meet the chat team. Okay, come over here, meet the voice team. I'm like, so what if there's no calls? That would be crazy. What if there are no emails? Do the emailers pick up the phone? And then that first holiday season, it's like, oh my God, I don't have enough staff on this channel. Number one piece of feedback that I heard in this first few weeks was you can't see the customer's journey. And, when you work in a store, it's all woven together and very visible and tangible and feelable. And I was really feeling untethered in the CX world. And so I went to a conference and I was walking around the conference and I was looking at all the booths, a little untethered. And I didn't even talk to anybody at Gladly. I stood and I watched the screen and it was showing a conversation flow of everything happening in this one flow. And before I spoke to a soul, a gentleman named Mike walked up to me from Gladly and he's like, hi, how are you? And I looked at him and go, I want that. Come on up and let's talk about it. And I was like, okay. And, then you dig it more and you learn more. And then you start to look for the strategic partnership. And that's, I think, today why, when you think about, could we build AI? I have every faith in my technology team that they could build anything they put their mind to. They're very smart people. But again, it comes back to priorities, right? Like, what do I have time to do? Where do I want to put that effort? How can I move faster? And you move faster with a great strategic partner who's going to help you figure it out. And therefore, I can say, here's what I want it to look like for me and for Crate and for this business. And this is what we need. And I don't have to have like that necessarily full cookie cutter, somebody else's solution. I can partner and navigate and figure that out.
It is an interesting trade-off, I think, that people are trying to figure out, which is like, hey, do we need to build the AI layer? Right. And is there one AI that rules them all?
Right.
And I think you're thinking about it in the right way, which is like, what's the core expertise, right? Like that's the part that we love about the partnership. It's like, okay, how do I expose that to you gladly so that you can deliver on a personalized experience that's like just totally integrated and unified
and feels like us through you. Yeah.
It's great. Last question. You've already shared something radically personal, which is that you're an overthinker, which I still, my mind is a little bit blown about.
Overthinker.
Something else about you that's radically personal.
I feel like we've known each other for a long time, Joseph. You must know it all.
No, I do know, but
Well,
I'm not supposed to talk about tequila, but
I
that's
do like so radically personal. So I've told all the stories about, growing up in stores and being a shopkeeper. I think the one thing I don't talk about very often is that, as a young girl, I lived in the Plaza Hotel in New York.
what?
Did you know that?
No, wait. Well, you lived?
I lived there.
You
So
didn't like stay there for a night?
no, it was no
an
lived
apartment?
there like Eloise, like the books. And I had posters of Eloise in my room.
Wait, it's like no, you literally. I mean, that poster. You lived in the Plaza Motel. I didn't know that. How old were you roughly?
I was a peanut. I was like 4.
Oh, so do you still call room service?
Yeah, but I could sign a room service check before I could write. I'd be like, thank you. I like the magical part where people just bring me chocolate ice cream. I like the magical service part. And I think service should be a little magical.
I agree with that.
Yeah. We weren't that fancy, but it was
That's pretty fancy.
it was where my dad worked.
Yeah. Kate, thank you. The whole team thanks you, and thank you to you and your whole team and everyone at Crate. Like we can't say thank you enough for the partnership.
Back at you. Super glad I wiped by that screen.
Yeah, we are too. Yeah. So thanks for taking the time today to chat with me.
Thank you, Joseph.
Okay.